Hello, Jacob here. And the 2022 Minnesota Vikings schedule has officially been released. And boy, there are some things that we'll get into here that are very interesting, including a Thanksgiving game, a couple of night games, and we literally finish our home or our home divisional slate by week 5. Oh boy. Oh, did I mention we get to go across the pond as well? So yeah, let's go ahead and dive right into it then. So yeah, as I mentioned, the thing that really is going to stink about this, as I mentioned, is we literally have all of our home divisional opponents by week 5. I'd much rather have it the opposite way, where we have them like week 14, 15, and so on, but yeah, unfortunately, that's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles. So, week 1 on September 11th at 3:25 Central Daylight Time, we host the Green Bay Packers for the second time in 2 seasons. First time with fans in attendance. Holy crap. Boy, we don't get an easy start, do we? Holy moly. Yeah, by the way, welcome to the NFC North, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah and Kevin O'Connell. Yeah, this is going to be... I mean, we start off the gate hot. I mean, do I need to mention that's Green Bay? Need I say more? Aaron Rodgers without Devontae Adams. You know, a lot of draft picks there and all that stuff. I mean, we literally plucked Zadarius Smith from them, one of their better defensive linemen. And, yeah, I mean, again, right off the bat, week 1 against Green Bay. So, starting off the gate hot, aren't we? And then week 2, we travel to Philadelphia as part of the double header for Monday Night Football. 7:30 Central Daylight Time in Philly on Monday night, week 2. That should be an interesting game, especially because of guys like, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith. The Eagles traded in the offseason for A.J. Brown, So they're going to have a really, really solid offense. The defense, I'm kind of curious to see, how that's all going to gel together, how all that's going to come together. Week 3, September 25th at noon, is at home against the Detroit Lions. Well, last time we played the Detroit Lions, I don't think I have to go into what happened. Again, taking nothing away from the Detroit Lions here, but... So, yeah. And again, that's going to be interesting, too, with another season of Dan Quinn. Who's going to be the starting quarterback? I'm assuming it's still going to be Jared Goff. But, yeah, I mean, the Lions will be an interesting team to watch. And then, week 4, we get to go across the pond to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, as will be the road team against the New Orleans Saints, which, boy, that's going to be a very interesting team to watch. Sean Payton gone. Jameis Winston coming back from ACL injuries. Will Michael Thomas actually be on the frickin' field this year? Alvin Kamara in some legal issues from the offseason. Can the defense... Basically, at this point, I wonder if the defense might have to be the Achilles heel for them, or like their strong suit, I should say. And oh yeah, hopefully have your coffee pots ready, because it's going to be an early game. 8:30 a.m. kickoff. Yeah, I mean, I guess to be fair, though, it's positive about those London games as well. We get them out of the way early. So if we're going to have a miserable day, at least, we'll be done, pissed off for the noon game, and then, we can move on to the 3:25 game and totally forget anything ever happened. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see there. And then week 5, the earliest we've played this team in a long time. At home against the Chicago Bears. For the first time in what seems like the third or fourth time, I should say, in like the last 10 seasons, we don't host the Bears at home for the season finale. And again, they're going through a lot of their own, turnovers and all that stuff with their coaching staff, with their GM, with their quarterback, Justin Fields, another year under that, or like the first year under a new system. Khalil Mack going away, Allen Robinson no longer on there, but Darnell Mooney, David Montgomery. They'll have a few pieces there to keep an eye on. But again, yeah, that concludes the home slate for the NFC North divisional games. And it's only October 9th. God, I hate that. I really do, especially once we get into the later part of the schedule here. So that's about like the first 5 games right there. We start off at home against Green Bay. Then we go to Philly on Monday night. Then we host Detroit. Then we go to England, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, to take on the Saints as the visiting team. And then we host the Chicago Bears. It could be a very interesting slate here, depending on how the Vikings look. Because again, coming off of all the new players and stuff like that, different schemes and all that. It'll be interesting to see here, but realistically, we could be 4-1, 3-2 here. But again, we'll have to wait and see. And then the next part of the schedule, week 6, we travel to Miami to take on Tua, Tyreek Hill, and the Miami Dolphins. Oh boy, that could be a track meet game right there. Because again, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Tua Tagovailoa, a pretty solid defense, and a crowded running backs core. The Miami Dolphins turned it on at the end of last season, just missing the playoffs by a couple of games. But again, the Miami Dolphins, what can I say? That's going to be an interesting team next year. And then week 7 is our bye week. So week 7 is our bye week. Again, I personally would have liked it maybe like week 9, but it is what it is. The Vikings have in the past usually had a pretty early bye week, which can be both good and bad, just kind of depending, on how the schedule goes and like how the season actually, injuries, consistency, continuity, all that stuff. It's always hard to tell. And then on October 30th, week 8 at noon, we host the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray, J.J. Watt, Hollywood Brown, and I think by that point, DeAndre Hopkins might be back. So, yeah, that's going to be another all-hands-on-deck game there, because the Cardinals, like I say, we went into Arizona last year. We should have beaten them. Anyway. Whew. Yeah, let's just say last year was a long season. But so yeah, Arizona, they made the playoffs last year. The NFC West was loaded. It's going to be interesting because, again, Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown now. They have some studs on the offense, all things considered. And, of course, we can't forget about Zach Ertz, too, who was, acquired via trade from Philly last year. So, and it'll be interesting to see how their defense looks. So, and then week 9, and a game that I'm a little nervous about, Well, mainly because I just hope that all of our players can come out healthy from going to this crap-infested stadium known as FedEx Field. Ugh. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We travel to D.C. to take on the Washington Commanders. Even though on the Vikings it still says Washington Football Team. So yeah, Sunday, November 6th at noon in Washington to take on Carson Wentz, Terry McLaurin, and that nasty defensive line with likes of Chase Young. But again, the reason why I say that's because the Washington Football Team, FedEx Field is just... I mean, how many quarterbacks have we seen go down to injury? And remember when we were there in 2011? Well, to be fair, though, little did we know in 2012 he would come back with an absolute vengeance. I'm talking about the Adrian Peterson torn ACL. But, yeah, I mean, that'll be an interesting team to watch, too. So, but yeah. And then week 10, Sunday, November 13th at noon, we get to go take on this guy and his new team in Buffalo to take on the Bills. So yeah, we get our chance to take on a very, very dangerous team in Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, a nasty defense, a nasty secondary. I mean, Josh Allen Josh Allen. A guy that a lot of people thought, like, after year one, going into year two, could have been a bust. I mean, let's be honest here. But again, you never like to, basically you never want to, call anyone a bust right away just because, it's Buffalo and all that stuff. And they really weren't the greatest team when Josh Allen was drafted. So, but yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting because, again, the Bills are one of the top teams in the NFL at this point. So, week 11, November 20th, at home for the 3:25 game against the Dallas Cowboys. Can we finally just beat the freaking Cowboys at home? Like, how difficult is this? I mean, we should have won last year, but Zimmer, we lost to Cooper Rush. That's all I'm going to say there. And it's not like the Dallas Cowboys were, world beaters. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see there. So, and then the following week, Thursday, November 24th, Thanksgiving night. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I really don't miss having Thanksgiving Day games. Well, who knows? It might help me burn the turkey and ham faster. But anyway, we'll wait and see, I guess. But yeah, November 24th, Thanksgiving night, at home against the New England Patriots. With Mac Jones, Bill Belichick, and, a very, very still skilled Patriots team. Granted, they're not the same team that we played in 2018, with Tom Brady and all those guys. But still, I mean, it'll be interesting to see, too, because by this time, injuries and all that stuff could be a huge, huge thing. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, I always hate to... that's why I never like to give, predictions and stuff like that, just because, again, there's so many things that are, out of your control. And, injuries and all that stuff are one of them. But yeah, Thanksgiving night, week 12, at home against the New England Patriots. And then week 13, we get to host the New York Jets. So Sunday, December 4th at noon at home against, Zach Wilson, Sauce Gardner, and, yeah, I mean, the Jets are looking, they definitely have a lot of young and a lot of good pieces now. It's just, can they finally get everything to stick? Can they finally get everything to, come together and at least have some cohesion? So, yeah, that'll be an interesting game to see here because, in theory, the Vikings should mop the floor with the Jets, but then again, the Jets have improved a lot. I mean, you can say the same with any team, really, but the New York Jets are going to be an intriguing matchup. And then week 14, we travel to Detroit. So, December 11th at noon, we're in the Motor City. And again, like I said with our first matchup, it'll be interesting to see kind of what the lines are going to look like at this point. Will Campbell still be there? I assume he will. Who will be the starting quarterback? This, that, and the other thing. So, and week 15, though, this is going to be interesting. Because according to the Minnesota Vikings schedule, and give me one sec here, I'm going to be curious to see if I can find anything here, but this, according to the Vikings schedule, week 15 is still to be determined for scheduling. It's a home game, and like I say, with it going to 18 weeks, the Minnesota Vikings will be hosting the AFC opponent. So, again, it'll be interesting to see, like, when we actually play them and all that stuff. And usually by then, too, the games and all that stuff are still kind of up in the air as it is. But, yeah, like I say, if I find out more information about that, I might post a short, like, when we actually play them. But as of now, as of recording this, it's still to be determined. But it's week 15 at home against the Colts, with the likes of Matt Ryan, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr., Darius Leonard. I mean, again, another team that's not going to be, a pushover team or a team to take lightly. Week 16, Christmas Eve, at noon, on Fox, we host the New York Giants. And Danny Jones, they picked up Kayvon Thibodeau and another lineman whose name is escaping me right now. I think it's Eric Wood or something like that. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, they picked up a few pieces, maybe the Kyle Rudolph revenge game. Who knows? I mean, again, the Giants are going to be another fascinating team to watch because, well, again, who knows what the Giants will look like and what they'll be this year. Teams like that are always hard to get a grasp on, especially as they keep progressing forward. And, yeah, so not really much else to say there, At least we're not playing on Christmas Day this year, but, yeah. And then the last two games of the year. Week 17, New Year's Day, 3:25 in the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Oh boy, that's going to be an interesting game. That's going to be a very interesting game because, again, end of the year, all indications are the Vikings and the Packers might be the top two teams in the NFC North. Will we be playing for playoffs at that point? Will we be playing for pride? Who the hell knows? I mean, these seasons are very unpredictable. But again, Lambeau Field in January. Need I say more? And for our season finale, for the first time, I think maybe in my lifetime, actually, Week 18, we're at Soldier Field to take on the Chicago Bears. At Soldier Field. Granted, at this point, the time and all that stuff is still to be determined, but again, it'll be interesting to see here. Because this is the first time that we've played Chicago at home before we played Chicago in a very long time. I mean, normally it seems like we play Chicago weeks like 16, 17, 18. It's like our last home game. So, again, it'll be interesting to see there because all indications are the Vikings should be, the better of the two teams here, potentially, this, that, and the other thing. But again, who knows what's going to be at stake at this point in the season? Will the Vikings be fighting for a playoff berth? Will they be fighting for first overall in the NFC? Will they be fighting to go into the playoffs? Or will it be, battle for like first overall in the draft? It's always hard to tell here. So, and also just kind of real quick here too, I figured we'll go ahead and also share the preseason schedule. So the first preseason game will be in Las Vegas against the Raiders. Week 2 will be at home against the 49ers. And Week 3 will be in Denver against the Broncos. And there's no times or dates on those, but again, we can dive back into that later too. But so yeah, like I say, our first experience to see the new team and the new regime will be in Las Vegas against the Raiders for preseason week 1. So like I say, just figure, again, the preseason schedule this year will be at Las Vegas, at home against San Francisco, and at Denver. So, but yeah, that'll pretty much wrap up this schedule. And like I say, the thing I hate about it is we're done with the home divisional schedule by week 5. Oh boy. And we get to go to Lambeau Field and to Soldier Field to close out the regular season. And again, I don't think I need to tell you anything, but, Green Bay, Wisconsin in January and Chicago, Illinois in January. Need I say more? Yeah, so who knows? Who knows at this point? But the Vikings have all the opportunities in the world to just go out there like gangbusters and, get the darn thing done. But honestly, the Vikings' schedule is actually one of the easier ones in the league here. With like a sub 4, it's like a 480 win percentage or something like that. So it's not horrible, but again, it's going to be a wait and see at this point. So, and again, week 4 in London at Tottenham Hotspur, that's going to be another interesting game going on against the Saints. Week 1, we host the Green Bay Packers. So, our first regular season game, our first big meaningful game against arguably the biggest, rival in our house. It's going to be crazy. And our first time actually seeing Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah's brain trust and brainchild here. So, yeah, if all goes right, I could see us making the playoffs here. But if I guess if I had to make a prediction, I'd say I could see, as of now, I'm getting 11-6, 12-5 vibes potentially. But again, who knows? So, until we meet again, this is Jacob. And if I find out any more information about, the to be determined games or all that stuff, I'll be sure to kind of break it down. But until we meet again, this is Jacob, and have a good day.